This is Module 7, Lesson 1 through 4 homework. I don't have much of a voice. We'll do what we can. Drag and drop square root of 49, square root of 47 to its approximate value to the nearest tenth on the number line below. Okay, it's going to be somewhere in this high range. Okay, let's look at this. Let's try the square root of 47. Square root of 47 is going to be between the square root of 49, which is 7, and the square root of 36, which is 6. So it's 6 point something. All right. If I look at this, the difference here is 11. The difference here is 13. So we got about 6 and 11/13 approximately. If I try 11 divided by 13, see how many times 13 will go in 11. Let's try 8. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 1 is 8, 19. That leaves me with 6. How many times will 13 go into 60? About 4. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. I got 8 left. Okay, about 0.84. So I would expect it to go right about in here. And let me tell you this, guys, we're not exact, so it might actually go here or here, but we know it's somewhere right in this region. They're not going to ask you usually to do to the nearest tenth. Which number is the closest approximation to the square root of 124? Okay, square root of 124. Okay, that was fit between square root of 121 and square root of 144. These are the perfect squares closest to it. This is 11 and 12. This is closest to 11. Enter the approximate value for 3 times the square root of 61 to the nearest tenth. Well, let's try. Square root of 61. Let's try to get that. That would be between the square root of 64, which is 8, and the square root of 49, which is 7. Okay, let's see. 61 minus 49. That would give me 12, right? And 64 minus 49 minus 64 would give me 15. Okay, so we're talking about 7 and 12/15. Okay, so let's divide 12 by 15. 15 can't go into 12, but it can go into 120. Let's see. 15, 30, 60 would be 4 times. So let's try 8 times. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 1 is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, 0.8, 7.8. So the square root of 61 will be about 7.8. We need to multiply that by 3. 7.8 times 3. 8 times 3 is 24. 7 times 3 is 21, 22, 23. 1 decimal place, that would be about 23.4. A set of numbers is given below, which list correctly orders them from least to greatest. Okay, well, let's think about this. First off, we got 10.4, the square root of 35. What would that be between? Well, let's see. Square root of 35 would be between the square root of 6, which is 6, and the square root of 25, which is 5. So it's 5 point something. All right, square root of 18, what's that between? Square root of 18 would be between the square root of 16, which is 4, and the square root of 25, which is 5. So this is 4 point something. Pi squared. Pi is about 3.14. So let's say about 3.1 squared multiplied by itself. 1 times 31, carry a 1. That's 3. That'd be about 9.6, okay? So pi squared is about 9.6. Okay, so what would be from least to greatest? Let's see, the square root of 18 would come first. I've only got one of those, the square root of 18. Then it says the square root of 35, which is 9.6. Let's see. Yep. Let's see. 6.5 and the 9 point something, the 10.4. Right there. Between which two numbers is the square root of 27 lie on the number line? Okay. Well, let's see. Square root of 27 is between the square root of 25, which is 5, and the square root of 36, which is 6. So between 5 and 6. Which of the following is closest to the approximate value of 10 times the square root of 3? Well, let's figure out the square root of 3. The approximate value for the square root of 3. Square root of 3 would be between the square root of 4, which is 2, and the square root of 1, which is 1. So it's 1 point something. All right, let's figure out 1 point what. All right. There's 2 between that. There's 3 there. So we're talking 1 2/3. If I divide 2 by 3, 3 will go into 2 and the 20. Let's see, 6 times. And that is 18. That gives me 2. So it's going to repeat, isn't it? It's going to be 0.666. It's going to be 0.67. Okay. 0.67 is about 7. So we're talking about 1.7. You multiply that by 10, and you've got 17. Which point is closest to the approximate value of square root of 20? Okay. Well, all of these are numbers. That's 4. Let's see, 4 and 6. So that would be 5. Other spots on the number line. That's 5. Okay, so square root of 20. That would be between square root of 16, square root of 25. So between 4 and 5. Okay, now that's 5. So this would be 4.5. Or is it going to be more or less than 4.5? Well, where does it stand? There's 4 on this side, there's 5 on that side. It's going to be closer to the 4 than it is to the 5. So it's going to be 0.Q. Which of the following rational numbers is closest to the square root of 7? Okay, well, let's try the square root of 7. Square root of 7 would be between the square root of 9, which is 3, and the square root of 4, which is 2. 2 point something. We knew that because almost every answer was 2. Well, it could have been the 3. Now let's try this. There's 3 units from here. There's 5 there. Let's do 3/5. That's 2 3/5. What is 3/5? Let's divide 3 by 5. 5 will go in, won't go into 3, but it'll go into 30.6. So we're talking 2.6 right there. Which point on the number line below is closest to the approximate value of the square root of 33? Okay, let's do that one. Square root of 33. That would be between the square root of 36, which is 6, and the square root of 25, which is 5. Okay, so we've got all these different values. Let's see what we've got. 33 minus 25 would give me 8. So there's 8 here. 36 minus 25 would give me 11. We're talking about 5 and 8/11ths. Let's divide 8 by 11. How many times will 11 go into 8? None. It won't go into 8, but it will go into 87 times, or 77, right? So we're talking 5.7. There's 5.5, 5.6, 5.7, 5.8. So there's 5.7, something right there. Okay? Yum. Consider these two numbers, 2 pi and square root of 17. How do the values of the numbers compare? Are they greater than, less than, or equal? 2 pi, we know pi is about 3.14, right? Let's multiply that by 2. 4 times 2 is 8, 2 times 1 is 2, 3 times 2 is 6, 6.28. That's 2 pi. Okay, square root of 17. That would be between, let's see, the square root of 16, which is 4, and the square root of 25, which is 5. This is between 4 and 5. This is 6. So the square root of 17 is less than 2 times pi, because it's 4 point something. Which point best indicates the location of the square root of 56? Okay. Square root of 56 is going to be between the square root of 64 and the square root of 49. One of them was 8 and 7. Yep, 7 point something. So it's got to be right in here. It's either B or C. Let's look and see. 56 minus 49 would give me 7. So there's 7 between these two. 64 minus 49 would give me 13. So I'm talking 7 and 7/13. 7/13 is about half, right? So we've got 7. C is about at half, and that's 8. So C is your point. Which point best represents square root of 10? Okay. Square root of 10 is going to be between the square root of 9, which is 3, and the square root of 16, which is 4. Between 3 and 4. That B is the only one between 3 and 4. Mac wanted to build a fence around his square pasture. So let's draw a square pasture. The area of the pasture is 1,000 square feet. This is a side length, that's a side length. About how long is the fence on one side? Well, we know that the area of a square is equal to side squared. Okay, we've got the area, which is 1,000, is equal to side squared. The opposite of having a square, something squared, is to take the square root. So the square root of 1,000, what's the square root of 1,000? Okay, let's look. What's 100 times 100? Okay, let's try that, see if it works. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay. So it can't be 1,000. What's the square root? About, it says about. Square root of 1,000, so let's try this. What's it between? Okay. Hold on. Okay. Actually, guys, it would be 32. I wouldn't expect you to know this one. Okay? Shouldn't have put that one in there for y'all. But it's about 32. Because we're doing these without a calculator. So I should have put that one in there for y'all. Sorry. Between which two numbers does the square root of 11 lie? Okay. Square root of 11. That's going to be between the square root of 16 and the square root of 9, between 3 and 4. Which best represents the position of the square root of 8 on the number line? Well, let's think about it. Square root of 8 going to be between the square root of 9, which is 3, and the square root of 4, which is 2. So it's going to be 2 point something. This is the only one that's above 2 and less than 3 point cube. Square rug has an area of 80 square feet. This one we can do, guys. All right, your square rug is an area of 80 square feet. If it's square, the two sides are equal. Those say sides, okay, not 5 sides. We know an area is equal to side squared. If it's equal to 80, 80 is equal to side squared. So we need the square root of 80, okay? Let's think what it would be between. The square root of 80 would be between square root of 81, which is 9, and the square root of 64, which is 8. So it's 8 point something. There's only one 8 point anything. It's right there. Which value is a solution to the equation x squared is equal to 49? That would be 7. What's the value of the square root of 25? 5. Evaluate each of the equations below. Drag and drop the correct value. Okay. N to the third power equals 64. So N is 4. N squared is equal to 25 over 81. So we're looking for the square root of 25 over 81. That's the square root of 25 over the square root of 81, which is 5 over 9. Or it could be, let's see, what options do you have? negative 5 over 9. Either one would work, okay? End of the third's 1 over 8, so we need the cube root of 1 over 8, which is the cube root of 1 over the cube root of 8. That is 1 over 2. N squared is 121, that's 11, or negative 11. Either one will work. What's the solution of the equation x cubed equals 125? It's 5. What's the value of the square root of 81? Okay, positive square root of 81 would be 9. Which value of x makes this equation true? 5 is equal to the cube root of x, okay? The cube root of 125 is 5. It's 125. Which of the following names the solutions to the equations below? X squared is equal to 8. Okay, what squared would give you 8? The square root of 8 and the negative square root of 8. Either one of those squared would give you 8. What's the solution to the equation below? N cubed is 21. That would be the cubed root of 21. What's the value of this expression? The cube root of 27. That would be 3. Which of the following is irrational? Look, anytime you've got a square root of a non-perfect square, it's irrational. Square root of 2 is irrational. This number terminates. This number terminates. This would be 0.5. It terminates. All of those decimal expansions terminate. So all of these are rational. This is irrational. What's the value of the expression below? 3 times the square root of 36. The square root of 36 is 6, so this 3 times 6 is 18. What's the exact value of the solution of the equation below? X cubed is equal to 5. That would be the cube root of 5. The area of a square label for DVD case is x squared is equal to 16, where x represents side length of the label in inches, okay? So we're talking about a square that is, the area is 16, okay? To solve the equation, x squared 16 can be written as x is equal to the square root of 16, which gives the side length of size x is 4. Evaluate each of the equations below. Drag and drop the correct value of x beside each equation. X cubed is equal to 8, okay? The value of x would be 2. X squared is 9/4. So you're talking about the square root of 9 over 4, which is the square root of 9 over the square root of 4. It's 3 over 2. Right? Let's see. or it could be negative the square root of 3 over 2. Either one works. X cubed is 1 over 27. You would be taking the cubed root of 1 over the cubed root of 27. That would give you 1 over 3. And x squared is equal to 100. That's 10. So here's a gift box with a volume of 64 cubic inches. The length, width, and height are all y inches. So we're talking a cube, or length, width, and height are all y. Sarah needs to determine if a stack of 6 by 6 note papers will fit on the bottom of the box. So we need to know if y is at least 6. Okay, complete the sentence below. Sarah can determine the value of y by finding the cube root, right? If the volume is equal to y cubed and the volume is 64, then to find one side, I need to find the cube root of 64. So y is 4. We're talking about a bottom that would be 4 by 4, okay? Kara can determine determine the value of y by finding the cube root of the volume. The value of y is 4. Therefore, the note papers will not fit on the bottom of the box. Select all the values of n that satisfy the n squared 64. Okay, that would be 8 and negative 8. Let's see, 8, negative 8, and the square root of 64 squared. Give it to you, okay? Evaluate 9 times the square root of 9. Square root of 9 is 3, so 9 times 3 is 27. The square root of 9 over the square root of 16, that gives you 3/4. What's x if x cubed is 64? It would be 4. Not 4, negative 4, just 4. It covers all the problems on this homework set.